Cloud security posture management. Very long term, but given the cloud technology that is constantly evolving and resources that you use today and the next moment you don't need them anymore, or you switch them, or you scale up and scale down, already the sheer dynamics of cloud infrastructure was basically creating this demand to have a proper tool that supports the process, because comparing to an on-prem infrastructure, which in the past you could manually assess because you were not so exposed, but nowadays with all these dynamics, all these inherited components, built-in things, automated stuff, you really need a tool to handle the complexity. So that is what cloud security posture management tools are doing. Cybersecurity tool for the cloud, but it does not protect. So don't get it wrong. This is not something that you switch on and then you're secure. It literally does what it says. It helps you to manage your security posture. And posture is more like where do you stand. Uh, so what does it look at? I mean, what kind of transparency does it give you to manage your posture? Let's say that way. It helps you, of course, doing some monitoring. It allows you to understand your system setup and what's the traffic and certain dependencies. Yeah, so there's a lot of monitoring and sensors available to get a better picture and transparency of your setup. It does threat detection, of course. It uses external information from different libraries, from different organizations to map the threats against your environment and see is it applicable or not. So let's say common vulnerabilities or something like that. So that is a good thing. So it brings more context. So next to transparency, it brings context. It detects literally vulnerabilities, as mentioned, part of the threat detection as well. Um, and it offers you a way of remediation, and that's where it depends which product you're using, because CSPM is an industry term, but there's a lot of products behind it from different companies that are doing it different ways. Objective is always the same, and also the same kind of concept of transparency and context, but remediation function is sometimes a little bit limited. Depends on how much access you grant this tool to really take care of your cloud room. Because I mean, it's also a security concern if you have a security tool that is very intrusive. And it does a lot of reporting because that helps to quantify and qualify all the findings and have a bit of a competitive approach and red traffic lights that make you do something about it. And yeah, major difference here, as I say, it also depends how intrusive you want it. Um, there's an agent versus agentless approach. What does it mean? So agent approach is, of course, you have to install some piece of software, some file into your cloud room, maybe multiple places of your cloud room. Whereas the agentless is you authorize the tool to use the entire cloud setup, and then you save the effort of doing it. Plus, you may get good transparency in terms of your cloud resources. Where with an agent, you have to be very conscious where you want to put it, because if you didn't put it there, it wouldn't know that it's part of your system landscape. Uh, and yes, you can. This is what all the tools are offering. You can design and operate your own rules, and therefore you can design kind of security policies and controls that then help you to get the right event management in place. Because again, due to the complexity, due to the sheer quantity of assets in the cloud, you don't want too much noise, because you really want to work on stuff that you think it makes sense. And even the time of the analyst being busy analyzing false positives or analyzing low threats is wasted time, because in that time they could have worked on something more severe and really improve the situation. So again, to reduce a little bit the noise, because all these automated sensors are producing a lot of alerts. So therefore the rules are important, and to set them up. So then, how to work this thing? I mean, no matter what tool you have chosen, there's a clear way forward to work on combinations of issues. That's what I would recommend. Looking at, let's say, only purely vulnerabilities is a good thing, because that is common known vulnerability. This is what attackers would go for, because that's what they're scanning the internet for. So if they detect that you have a common known vulnerability on your system because you're using an outdated component, they would then see their chances going up to exploit it. But of course, exploits mostly work with in a combination with the right context. So there's a bit of wrong exposure. There's a few secret things like keys lying around, or there's other bugs or business logic issues, or exposed data. Yeah? So all that, when it comes together with vulnerabilities, becomes a very good opportunity for an attacker to take advantage of it. So therefore, look at these combinations first, try to dissolve them a little bit, and lower the severity. And of course, work your way from outside in, because that's where the attacker also comes from. Of course, it's a great approach to work from inside out, but again, consider the complexity, consider the quantity of items that you're dealing with. Uh, Try it from outside, because that's a replication of the path of an attacker, similar to what, for example, a penetration tester would be doing. Even though, let's say, when pen test service is provided as a white box, they still try to first, like a little black box approach, to say how vulnerable is it to, or how easy is it to get into the system, and when I'm in the system, what can I do? And here exactly the same thing, because getting into the system is probably inevitable, but on the other side, you also want to see what is facilitating and increasing the chances, the probability of getting into the system. So that's why work from outside in, harden the surface, and then work on the structures internally to create more segregation and more kind of little protection walls within your system design. Uh, and the only way to work this, because again, it's a lot of complexity, it's a lot of information, it's a lot of red lights, and even you sharpen your policies and you have a strategy how you want to work this, you still have to put a lot of time to it. Again, the tool doesn't do anything itself. The tool gives you kind of a real-time response on what you have currently improved. But I still suggest a daily routine to ensure security issues are detected and immediately worked on. Yes, you can set up some alert function and whatnot, but again, a sanity check every day, putting something on the agenda to fix, planning the next improvement to maybe avoid recurring issues. Um, this is not monthly patching. This is very different to the normal patching and security patch routine. This is literally every day some changes in the infrastructure can reflect new vulnerabilities. There's changes in the industry, new threats come up, which you don't want to wait for 1 month to discover, because again, you might be the last one fixing it, and you might be the first one being exploited because of this oversight. And again, all this reporting and these tools can be configured in a nice way that it really gives you the essentials. So you have on one look, you don't have to do like data crunching for hours. You can just on one first look, you can pre-configure your cockpit and look at it and take actions immediately. The next best action is usually good enough. No need to workshop around which one is the best, but just do one and tomorrow do the next. That's why it's a daily approach, and it will help you to protect yourself.